Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She came home with a stack of onboarding papers and a new badge on a lanyard. And when I said, "Let's celebrate. I'll grill steaks," she didn't look up from her phone. "Not tonight." Lauren waved me off. "They're drowning at the office. I have to be sharp tomorrow." That's the point of a celebratory dinner. I kept my voice even. "You got the job. We toast it. We eat. We mark the day." "Mark it without me," she muttered, shouldering past to the bedroom. "I've got a lot on my mind." If I'd known where that sentence was headed, I would have taped it to the fridge as a warning label. The next morning she stood at the counter, hair pinned up, blouse crisp. She looked good, and she knew it. I poured coffee. She ignored the mug I slid toward her. "Starts at 8. I asked. "Earlier, actually." She checked her watch like I was late to something. "There's a partners meeting. I need to be there when the phones start." A secretary at a small real estate firm with a partners meeting at dawn. I smiled. "Sounds official." "It is," she said. "You wouldn't get it. Try me." "I don't have time to explain." She grabbed her bag. "Text me if you need anything." "Actually, don't. I'll text you." That was the first pebble. You can ignore one, but then you start hearing a slide. I work facilities for the county. Unsexy, reliable. I like systems. Trash gets taken out, lights get replaced, budgets don't lie. At lunch I stopped by the florist and ordered a small bouquet for her desk with a card. Day 1. Go get it. Mark. When I got home that night, the bouquet was in our sink, leaning against the drying rack like a soldier with a bad leg. "Watered it." Lauren called from the couch. "Allergies at the office. Can't have flowers." "You couldn't leave it on your desk?" "The boss sneezes when he walks by," she said. "You want me to get fired day 1? Not in my top 10 wishes." She clicked the TV louder. "Then please stop making me look like I'm not focused." The next day ran easier. She texted about a spreadsheet she'd conquered, an email she wrote that got praise. I sent a thumbs up and a joke about her running the place by Friday. She answered with a single word, "Maybe." By week 2, she started coming home a little later. Then a lot. It wasn't dramatic. It was strategic. 10 minutes turned to an hour. I waited with dinner, then I stopped waiting. I covered the food, then I stopped cooking. On Friday, she walked in at 9:30, dropped her bag, and sniffed the air. "You didn't make anything?" "I ate at 7, I told her. "Kitchen closes at 8. I'll warm something if you want." She rolled her eyes. "We're slammed." "You could at least act supportive." "Of you earning a paycheck?" "Always." "Of me eating cold chicken at 10 while you answer emails?" "Pass." She set the bag on the chair instead of its usual hook. Little rebellions have their own smell. "I'm trying to build something," she said. "So am I." I leaned against the counter. "Which is why we're going to change a few logistics." "Meaning what?" "Calendar sharing. If you're late, you drop it in the calendar before 6. No explanations, just notice. I'm not sitting around guessing. Second, grocery run is split. Whoever gets home earlier picks it up. Third, I'm reworking weekends. Saturday morning is mine. Gym, coffee yard. I'll be around afternoon." She blinked like I'd switched the channel without asking. "Why are you making this transactional?" "Because somebody has to make it adult." I slid my phone over. "Open the calendar." "That's controlling," she said. "It's the opposite. It's boundaries." She didn't like it, but she accepted the invite. Clicked, maybe on everything. On Sunday, we had the neighbors over. Simple stuff. Burgers, potato salad, no brand names on the grill. Nate, my oldest friend, brought a cooler and his dry jokes. Carla from across the street came with her laugh that carried past the fence. Lauren drifted in late with a story about a printer crisis. Carla smiled. "New job treating you right?" "It's a lot of responsibility," Lauren answered. "Phones never stop. My boss says I'm his right hand." Nate raised an eyebrow at me over the tongs. "Look at you, married to the right hand." "Funny," Lauren said, not laughing. "Some people understand pressure. Some don't. Some cook for 8 and keep the lawn down," I said, flipping a patty. "Different pressure. Different scoreboard." She took a plastic cup, swirled it. "If I told you what a day's like over there, you'd be impressed I even come home." "I'm impressed you found the house," I said. Everyone chuckled. She didn't. When they left, she stacked plates loud enough to scuff them. "You embarrassed me." "You walked yourself over that cliff," I replied. "Next time, don't take the jump." "You made a joke about me being gone." "I made a joke. It's a backyard. That's where jokes live. She stared at me, deciding whether to escalate or retreat. The new Lauren liked to escalate. Well, maybe spend less time in your own world and more in mine. Send me a calendar invite, I said. She slammed the dishwasher. The machine blinked error and went quiet. That was her way. Break the thing that cleans up after you. Monday was calm. Tuesday she texted, running late. Wednesday she wrote, don't wait up. Thursday it was, emergency after hours. No details, just a fog machine. That's when I moved the ball. I told her I'd be leaving earlier for work and joining a second shift for a month, budget cycle, extra projects. Not a lie, I'd asked for the overtime. 2 reasons. I'd be busy, and she'd feel the absence she kept scheduling for me. She wasn't thrilled. You're going to be gone mornings? Mostly, I said. We'll see each other in the evenings you pick, if they exist. That's petty. That's balance. Friday, she softened like a bartender who knows you're about to close your tab. She wrapped her arms around my waist in the kitchen and kissed my neck. Hey, she said, light voice I hadn't heard in a while. You've been tense. I'm sorry for the snippy stuff. The first month is a lot. I can believe that. I watched the timer on the oven tick. What changed? I'm just learning, she said. Tonight I'm home. No calendar alerts. Let's have that steak. We did. She asked me about a busted chiller at the county building. I asked her about how they routed calls. We had a normal night, almost suspiciously normal. At 11, she snuggled into me on the couch. You're good at routines, she said. I need that. Routines are how things don't fall apart. I know. She kissed my shoulder. Thanks for not giving up on me. Not a sport I play, I said. Saturday, she did laundry without being asked, first in months. Sunday, she booked a brunch, posted a photo of us with the caption my guy, no tags. On Monday, she walked out in a dress I hadn't seen and paused by the front door. Big day, she said. Presentation? Sort of, she answered. Partners want to revamp the front office. I'm part of the conversation. Good. Go run the place. 2 days later, she fell back into the late-night rhythm like the apology had been a trial offer. Only now she layered on new rules. If I texted after 8, she didn't reply. If I asked a simple "Where are you?" she responded at midnight with a picture of a desk and a paper cup, no faces, no context. When I called it out, she sighed like an exhausted teacher. You have to trust me. I do. That's why I'm asking for basic clarity. You're not a storm chaser. You're at a desk. You don't get how this office works, she said. Phones go quiet. We prep for the next day. Sometimes we stay. That's how ambitious people operate. You're ambitious, I nodded. Then you'll understand my next step. What step? I'm not waiting on your schedule to plan my life. Wednesday poker with Nate, and the guys is back on. Fridays I'm at the gym late. Sundays I'm reorganizing the garage. You want time? Put it on the calendar. I'll accept if I'm free. She gave a tight smile. That's generous. It's adult. That night, when she came home, she was cheerful again, like someone had switched her settings. She dropped a donut box on the counter and nudged it toward me. Office treats. Thought of you. Nice, I said, tapping the lid. Which morning do these belong to? She laughed. Don't interrogate the donuts. Fair. She stepped close. I miss you. Show me on the calendar. A week later, I decided to deliver dinner to her office. She'd texted, running late again. Mountain of work. I picked up 2 warm boxes from a place she liked and drove over. The building was a brown 2-story with a glass front. We joked when she first interviewed that it looked like a dentist's waiting room stretched into adulthood. It was 8:40. Lights off. The lobby door was locked. A security guard sat at a folding table by the elevator, flipping through a sports magazine. He was middle-aged, heavy-set, with a Yankees cap he definitely wasn't supposed to wear on duty. Evening, I said. He glanced up. Closed, bud. My wife works here, I told him. Front office. Lauren. He squinted at the directory. Nobody's up there. She texted she was still at her desk. He shook his head. They roll out by 7. Latest. The boss hates overtime. Maybe she's with the boss. They're not here, man. He tapped the magazine with a finger. Quiet as a church. I stood there holding dinner that was cooling fast. He watched me, waited for me to argue, then softened. You want to leave it by the door? He asked. Someone will be in early. I got it, I said. Thanks. On the way home, the city looked different. Not dramatic. Just recalibrated. A street sign missing a bolt, a light flickering, A lane closed with cones that weren't there yesterday. The little queues you file under maintenance until you add them up. At our house, I stowed the dinner in the fridge and went upstairs. She came in at 10, humming something she'd never listened to, tossed her heels into the hall, and yawned. Crazy night, she said. How crazy? Phones melted. We stayed late to map out tomorrow. Anyone order sushi? I asked. No, why? Smelled like soy sauce in the lobby when I swung by just now. The smallest pause. You came to the office? Had extra time. Thought I'd feed you. You should have texted me. I did. The guard said no one was there. She smiled too quickly. New guy? He doesn't know our rhythms. He knew the lights were off. She looked at the fridge like it had answers. I'm exhausted, Mark. Yeah. I took a beat. Me too. I didn't push it. I went downstairs, washed the 2 containers I hadn't opened, and made a decision. In the morning, I pulled a card out of my wallet and called a PI named Tom Grant. He'd done work for a vendor at the county and came recommended as a guy who didn't embellish. We met at a small office above a barber shop. Tom was late 50s, hair like steel wool, wedding ring tan line, no ring. He had a legal pad and a rule. 2 weeks, simple scope, no dramatics. He listened to the timeline without interrupting, just moved his pen. So you're not out to catch anybody doing anything, he said. You want facts, not fireworks. Facts, I nodded. Schedule. Patterns. Where she goes when she says work. Names if there are names. You sure you want the names? I want the truth. He nodded once. You'll get it. For 2 days, I played along at home. I cooked, I didn't wait. I made my morning shift and kept my head down. Lauren reacted like weather. On Tuesday, she was sunny. Wednesday, she was cool. On Thursday afternoon, Tom texted me. Need to see you tonight. I told Lauren I was going to poker. Tom had an envelope on his desk. Inside, a handful of photos, printed, time-stamped. Lauren at a high-end restaurant bar. Not the same place as the boxes I'd picked up, sitting with a man I recognized from a firm brochure on our kitchen table. Her boss, Alan. They were close, both laughing, her hand on his sleeve in half the shots. One picture framed them by the hostess stand, alone, her head tilted up like she was listening to a secret. The timestamp matched the night I'd stood with cooling dinner in a dark lobby. Same pattern Tuesday, Tom said. 15-minute window from office to the restaurant. They stayed until about 10:15, left in separate directions, then met again in the parking lot 2 blocks over. Separate directions, I repeated. Yep. Anything else? They're careful, he said, but not careful enough. I paid Tom in cash, shook his hand, and drove halfway home before pulling into a hardware store lot. I sat there with the photos until the fluorescent lights burned my eyes. Then I put the envelope under the seat and went home. Lauren was brushing her teeth in the hall bath when I came up. You win poker? She asked through the phone. Broke even. I leaned in the doorway. How was your day? Endless, she said. Tomorrow will be worse. She wiped her mouth. We might have to go on Saturday. Don't make plans. I already did. For what? Me. I stepped out of the doorframe. You can catch me on the calendar. She squinted at me like a light was too bright. What is this new thing where you're suddenly too busy for us? It's not new, I said. I'm just catching up. Friday morning, I called my bank and opened a separate account. I changed the passwords on the utilities, set bills to my card alone. I moved the title of the truck to my name only. It already was, but now the paperwork had a new folder. I put the house papers in a safe deposit box, added Nate as an emergency contact. I was calm about it. No drama. Systems. That afternoon, I took an hour off and drove to a small office where a paralegal named Denise handled divorce documents without asking about the personal side. She was brisk and efficient, slid forms across the desk. I signed where she pointed. You want these filed now? She asked. Hold them, I said. 1 business day. I'll call. Understood. At home, I cooked pasta and waited. Lauren texted, running late. Huge workload. Don't wait up. The same template, like a form letter. I set my phone face down and went to the closet with 2 duffels. Shirts, boots, files, a framed picture of my dad. The carved opener I kept in the drawer by the bed. Toothbrush, razor, 3 pairs of gym shorts. I moved smooth, without looking back. The house got quiet in a way I hadn't heard in months. I loaded the bags into the truck and came back for one last pass. The spare keys on the hook by the door, the apple pie candle she liked that always smelled like burnt cinnamon after 10 minutes, the stack of mail with her glossy office brochure on top. I sat at the dining table, placed the envelope of photos under a set of signed papers, and wrote a note. Hope it was worth it. Simple. Not a speech. A fact. Her text landed right then. Today I'll be home late. Don't wait. So much work. I took a picture of the stack on the table and typed back. Neat. Did your office move to a restaurant? Convenient. Then I turned the phone off, put the bags in the truck, and drove around the block to the construction site where the subdivision was half finished. I parked behind a pile of lumber and waited, engine off. 20 minutes later, 20, like a stopwatch, Lauren's car swung into our driveway at speed. She ran to the door with her bag, slamming her hip. For a second, I wondered what story she'd prepared. Then I realized it didn't matter. I started the engine and pulled away. I checked into a motel on the highway, the kind where the ice machine rattles like it's doing you a favor. The phone lit up on the nightstand as soon as I turned it back on. A dozen calls. A long string of texts. Where are you? We need to talk. This is not what you think. Call me. Mark. Please. Then nothing for a while. Then angrier. You're making a scene. Be reasonable. Don't do anything rash. I plugged the phone into the charger and went to sleep. In the morning, my shift started at 7. At 6:30, she was sitting on a bench outside the county building when I pulled in, makeup streaked, hair pulled back like she'd picked a fight with a brush and lost. She stood when she saw my truck, walked toward my door, then stopped when she saw my face. Mark, she started. Workday, I said, stepping out. If you're here to drop off a key, leave it with security. She stepped closer. I'm sorry. I messed up. Please let me explain. I don't need explanations. Please, she said, voice breaking. They let me go? I lost the job. I looked at the sky beyond her shoulder because it was easier than looking at her. That's tough, I said. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. I can fix this. You can get back in your car, I told her. I have a crew waiting. Mark, please. You had 10 months to be honest. I nodded toward the doors. I'm not late for work because you finally hit reality. Don't be cruel. I'm being clear, I corrected. I have nothing to discuss. She stared like she was searching for a script and couldn't find the page. I don't know where to go. You have friends, I said. Use them. She wiped under her eyes. I'm asking you. You're asking the man you treated like furniture. I shook my head. I'm on the clock. Security watched from inside, pretending to check a log. My colleague Jeff walked up with a coffee and pivoted hard when he saw the scene. Lauren moved one step closer. He's not what you think. It wasn't. Don't care, I said. Take care of yourself. I'm going in. I walked past her. She didn't follow. The next part moved fast. Denise filed the papers that afternoon. Lauren didn't fight. She didn't ask for the house, the savings, the truck, anything. She signed, avoided eye contact, and walked out. She sent one last long message about mistakes and pressure and being adrift. I archived it. The documents came back finalized so quickly it felt like an administrative correction. For 2 weeks I stayed at the motel, and then a short-term rental near the river while the utilities transferred back cleanly and the locks got rekeyed. Nate brought over takeout and bad jokes. You want me to say something trashy about her? He asked, mouth full. Because I have material. No, I said. Just eat. He pointed a fork at me. You're handling it. I'm doing the next thing, I answered. That's enough. He nodded. And after that you're going to handle the next thing. Don't get inspirational on me. Fine, he said. Give me one good line I can put on a t-shirt. Respect is cheaper to keep than to rebuild, I said. Too long. But I like it. When the month ran out, I moved back into my house. The rooms felt bigger. I set the pan I actually use on the front of the stove and put the seldom used pans in the drawer. The dining table sat clear, no stack of flyers, no glossy brochures. Saturday mornings returned to their old rhythm. Gym, coffee, yard. I found a decent apartment for Lauren's boxes and paid the movers because I wanted the door to close. She still sent messages, spaced out and lower in temperature. I didn't block her. I just didn't answer. Nate tried to drag me out every other week. We're hitting the lake, he'd say. You're driving. Truck needs to feel appreciated, I'd reply. And then I drove. The guys at work didn't ask much. They cracked a few quiet lines, then got back to replacing a rooftop unit and arguing about the right size ladder. People who do practical jobs understand that pain doesn't need a podium. 3 months out, I put in for a promotion I'd been ignoring. The extra work suited me. I slept better when I was tired. I saw my sister more often, fixed her back steps, met her neighbor's dog that kept digging under the fence. I bought a used toolbox I'd wanted for a year and cleaned it like it was made of gold. On Sundays, I took a longer drive along the ridge in the late afternoon and let the road burn up the restlessness. I wish I could tell you I felt nothing when I saw a picture of Lauren pop up on a mutual friend's page. Her at a downtown bar, not smiling, a new lanyard from a temp agency around her neck. I didn't feel nothing. I felt steady. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. Every now and then I stupidly pick up the pie candle and picture the note I left on the table next to the copies from Tom's envelope. Hope it was worth it. It wasn't poetry, it was inventory. Did the trade make sense? The math says no. And when I catch myself drifting into old questions, I drag the focus back to the present. The yard, the truck, the project list, my people. It's not about being hard. It's about being done. Lauren caught me once more in the parking lot of the hardware store a month after the papers finalized. She looked decent, collected, a different version of the same person. She walked up slow. "Can we start over?" she asked. "No. You didn't even let me. You had the floor for a year." She swallowed and exhaled through her nose. "I miss the way you made it all make sense." "That's because I did the work." I shifted the bag in my hand. "Find your own sense." She glanced at my truck, at the new toolbox in the bed. "You look okay." "I am okay," I said. "Not because of what happened, because of what I did after." "Do you ever think about Lauren?" I cut her off with one raised finger. "I have errands." She stood there as I got in. I drove away. It didn't feel heroic. It felt like picking the right lane. Now, I work more. I see my friends who actually show up. Nate drags me to watch a game and pretends I'm not doing him a favor by eating his terrible dip. My sister's kids call me when their bikes rattle. I learned to make a decent omelet and unlearn the habit of checking the door every time the driveway lights up. Some nights are easy. Some aren't. When they're not, I head to the garage, pull out that old carved opener, and sand the tiny nick on its handle, the one my dad made when he used it wrong just once. It's a tool. It's meant to be used. It does its job. The last time Lauren tried to reach me, she sent a list of the things she regretted and a picture of an empty desk. I looked at it for a second and put the phone down. There's a line between being a man with feelings and being a man who lets himself be drafted into someone else's crisis. I stay on my side. I don't owe grand statements. All I owe is my own standard. So I keep it. And when someone asks what happened, I keep it short. She started a job. I offered dinner. She chose something else. I kept the house. And the part of myself that doesn't wait on a lie.